What if you could build something that automatically spits out articles and social media posts in seconds? Articles that can rank and have high SEO, and social media content to exponentially grow your brand on platforms like Instagram. And all this on autopilot for free? What I'm going to show you in this video is how you can make articles, blog posts, and social media content all in a matter of seconds with a click of a button and zero brain activity. I'm going to show you how I built this AI and automation tool from scratch and show you exactly how it works so you can build one and tweak it for yourself. And you can make it do all kinds of things to create and automate posts for your social media brand without you having to do any extra work. If you follow the exact blueprint I lay out in this video, you too can build an application that spits out all kinds of great social media content in a click of a button that you can post all across your brand and become an autonomous powerhouse. Hello, I'm Mike, and I talk about all things tech, AI, automation, and business. If you're interested in building a project with me, click the link in the description below and schedule a free discovery call with me. But anyway, so coming on over to my application I built, but let me first show you how it works. So what this does is it actually takes news articles that you can find anywhere on any kind of news site, and then you can enter in a specific blog or a news article here, and then it will output a brand new blog for you, kind of rewritten in a different style to hopefully something that you like to where you can post it on your own blog. So to test this, we'll head over to CNBC and we'll click on this article. SEC sues to force Elon Musk to testify in Twitter probe. All right, very spicy article indeed. All right, yeah, we'll take this article and then we'll come in here, we'll enter it in the URL and we'll click on fetch article. And what this will do is in a second here, it'll bring up the title of the article, as you can see here, and then it will go ahead and it will also try to find the article text from the news article that we just pulled up. It will pull any hyperlinked URLs in this post. So you see we have a couple of URLs here. And it also pulls the main image from the blog post. Now, unfortunately, this one that we chose did not have an image, but there's actually a way around that, which I'll show you right now. So if we come back here, you see it says it pulls the main image, but I also have this option here for a secondary image. We'll just grab a picture of this one. It looks like it's from the same article here. And we'll click on open image in new tab. We'll take the link of the image here, come back to my application, put the link in here, and then it automatically updates with the new image. What this basically does is it replaces any image that's given here. This one just checks if there's an image already in the blog post, so you don't have to change it. So now we have basically our fetched article that we can start tweaking. So we'll click on this button here, rewrite article, and if we give it a second, what it will do is it'll run a couple API calls to the OpenAI API, and this will allow us to basically take some of the information you've gathered from the article and it will spit out a brand new modified informational piece that we can then use to upload to our content platforms. So you can see I didn't cut this at all. It just uploaded a brand new piece of content. So it took this article here and it chopped it up into this. So there's a header here with a mini section here, as well as a couple more sections here. Great. So what I also like to do is kind of go through it, and you can see where it says like stuff about CNBC. I would just delete that. Okay, yeah, so this blog post came in, but if we go back up to the top here, you can see it generated 3 brand new titles for us. So I have Elon Musk dragged to court by SEC, breaking news, SEC takes legal action. What it basically did is it took our header here and it made 3 new example headers for our new blog post or article. And the way I have it set up here is you can actually select which title you like depending on if you like one more so than another. And then it automatically updates the slug for the article right here. So you can see if I click on this one, it updates the slug accordingly with the text. It basically just removes all the spaces and the characters here and makes everything lowercase, which is the typical slug format for if you're uploading like a blog post or something. But yeah, so we'll click on this one, and I actually kind of like the Elon Musk dragged to court by SEC, forced to spill Twitter secrets, an explosive probe. What we'll actually do is we'll actually shorten this to be just Twitter secrets. I feel like that's a little bit better of a title. Who knows though? We'll just go with it for the purpose of this. But yeah, so then once that's selected, we can come down here and we can choose our date time. It's automatically selected. My category, I already have a couple categories in here, but this is actually going on my new blog site So I have a little site I can show you here. It's not fully done yet, but it's basically just like a mini outline of a blog site. You can see I have some couple test articles here. But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go back to our application. You see we have the date and time here. We'll pick our news category news. In the future, I do want to add maybe an option to add a couple more categories, but I just wanted to standardize it to make it always show up at least with news, and then author, it always picks me. And then what I like to do is add the sources just to give some credit. So we could copy the link up in here and then come down here and then CNBC. And then also the reason why I have these links here is because usually what articles will do, they will link to other articles to reference certain kinds of stories. And what I want to do is find a way, okay, so if there's some articles on here like Twitter shares halted on the report. So what we can do is we can actually click this one and we'll come up here and we'll go over Twitter shares and then we'll enter in another hyperlink here just to add some more hyperlinks and content to our blog post, so that when it automatically gets uploaded, it already has those links to other websites to hopefully give it more credibility. But yeah, so this is basically the way I have it set up now. And you can kind of go on really fast and look, okay, is there any links here that I want to add, throw them back in here. Then come down here. This is pretty much all good to go. Throw in the source, and then it has the cropped image here. So it takes the image here and it standardizes the image, and then it will fit the format of this blog post. And then if I were to click on publish and wait a second here, click on OK, it went through, come back here, we'll refresh the page, and there we go. We have our brand new article. And the way I have it set up too is I have a little table of contents here that scrolls with the content. But yeah, a similar news article written in very news formal tone, all done with just a link, and then you just post it right to the back end of whatever kind of WordPress, Sanity, blog hosting service you're using. This has been a really cool solution for me to build because you can get really quick with, you just upload a link, you fetch the article, and then you rewrite the article, you pick your title, the slug's already done for you, there's some tags here for you. You come through, kind of read over it, make sure it looks good to go, the date's already set, the category's set, the author's already set, source link, and then type in the name. You just copy the same link that you already put in the top there, click on publish, and then down here I also have a fun little section that I wanted to add is the Instagram image. So what it also does is it edits this image to be in the format of an Instagram post. So then you can click on download image and then go to Instagram. It would instantly take me to Instagram, to which I can click on create. We'll come up here and then we'll just drag the image I put into here, original, and there we go. And we can come into here and then just type in, whatever we want. What do you think of Elon Musk? There we go. Simple as that. And that took me basically no time. So let's try this actually one more time and see how fast we can get this to go. One website that's actually been working really well in terms of like polling articles and stuff is actually Ars Technica. And they have a lot of really cool articles on here. I'm a big fan of their writers. So what we can do is literally take this article. We could take this link here, come back here, come up to here, fetch article, wait about a second or so, rewrite the article, and let's see if it fetched. Okay, it did not fetch any image, probably because these are in like a slideshow. But what we can do is actually take the image here and we'll use this one as an example. That'll work for now. Okay, yeah, so this image is what we'll use for this example. And now let's go up to the top. We'll pick our title again. We'll keep it simple like this. There we go. Yeah, these ones are good. I liked having the different options in here, but usually I just end up editing them myself anyway. The slug automatically generated. This automatically generated. Samsung introduces Galaxy Smart Tag 2. Pretty standard here. We'll come here and we'll add Samsung introduced Galaxy Smart Tag. Okay, we'll come into here. We'll add some links. Date and time automatically updated. And then we'll type in Ars Technica. Actually link to the original article here and click on publish. And there we go. So literally took us a couple seconds here, but if I go back to my blog, refresh the page, there we go. We have a new article already automatically posted and generated in a format that people can hopefully read, look at, send, share. You can post it on your social media. It's automatically done for you. really isn't anything too complicated going on here, except for, building out something like this. And then there's also an Instagram image to go with it. So download this again, go to Instagram, create, come up here, drag our picture in, set it to original, next, type in a caption. You can even have something here. I was thinking of adding like another input to add like a box where someone could input like it would generate like a caption for you based off of this information, kind of like a mini summary. And then you would click on download, copy, and then go to Instagram, and you'd come here, post it, type in cool keyring, and then share, and then it would automatically be posted content to your social media. And the thing that I noticed too is I was going to have like a button or something on the app here that allows you to just automatically upload it to Instagram, but I found that it's actually better when you upload social media posts directly onto the platform that you're using. So that's why I kind of opted to go in the route of download it, and then you can just pull it from up here and drag it in. But yeah, this is basically something I kind of built in my free time. I knew it was something I wanted to build, and I wanted to see how it would work. But there's a lot of videos and stuff of just people talking about like, oh, they just go to this website and ChatGPT an article. But I feel like this is a little bit better of a solution. Even though you're pulling from news sites, at least in this example, you can do other blog posts and things like that. You just got to get creative with where you source your original content from, but it basically gives a brand new article similar to the article that was already written before. You can go here and change things and stuff like that, like headers and all that, like you would regularly in like a content site. But yeah, so now that I've explained to you how this works, let me actually show you. So we'll come into VS Code, and I want to mention I did build this completely from ChatGPT. I didn't really write a single piece of code from anywhere. Basically, I have a massive React application. This houses a giant code base here of everything that's going on in the code. And I'll be honest, I really don't know what half this code does, to be honest. I really just type in like, okay, here is a piece of a component. I want to do this, and then it would get me to that goal, right? And then I would just copy and paste until it eventually got to what I needed it to do, right? So I will say it is a little bit of a learning curve, like learn the process of putting this together. Basically allows you to build any kind of application you want, to make any kind of automated system you want. And I think it's really cool because you can get super specific in what kind of applications you want to build. So this, if I were to explain it, is a React application. So if I were to go into ChatGPT here and we'll say, write me the setup for a React application, give me a tutorial. So React, if you're not familiar, is basically the kind of a very simple framework to build websites. A lot of people give it hate nowadays because it's kind of old. It's what I choose to code with right now just because I'm still kind of learning this stuff. But as I go on, it's definitely one of those things you should learn if you're going to get into this kind of stuff. And I think it's really useful because it allows you to build, as you saw, whatever you want. But yeah, you can literally type in, write me this React application, and then it builds you a step-by-step tutorial on what you need to do to get it to work. And if we just go through it here, you can see, okay, we need Node.js. So we go to nodejs.org, need to install Node.js. So you would install something like this, and then once you have it, you can use this command in the terminal. So I like to use VS Code. It's what I've been showing you here, but this is basically your main coding window for kind of rigging up your application together. And as I keep mentioning, like, I feel like I know what I'm talking about when I talk about this stuff right now, but like 2 months ago, I had no clue what any of this did. And it really is from just like, okay, you do this and there's an error, something comes up, you just kind of go in like a feedback loop and paste in like what went wrong, and then just keep doing that until you figure out the problem and then can move past it. I'll go through this actually with you, and you can skip past this if you're already used to coding like this. And if I were to open up a brand new VS Code window here, terminal, new terminal, and we'll just install our new application. What I want to do is actually create the new React app. And then we go into here. There we go. So now it's creating our new React application. And then I'll just open this up and kind of show you basically the brief guts of how it works and then how I got to where I was with the application. And this is the process that you can just keep learning and iterating on until you can build whatever you want. And honestly, it's something that I really want to teach in the future, because this is I think the new way of how people are going to code in the future. It really puts the fun back into like, thinking of something, like, thinking of an idea for an app or thinking of an idea for whatever, a website or something. And you don't have to really know how to build it other than just spell it out and tweak it until you get it looking like you want. We go into here in our test section here. You see I have a new folder for my application. What I'll do is I'll actually open this folder up and then I'll click on it to select the folder that I just made. And then if we go into terminal again, npm start, what this will do is it'll open up a new project with just the basics. This is a very basic website and it's really all you need to get started. But then from here, what you can do is you can literally come into here and say, okay, here's my app.js, Control A, Control C, come back into ChatGPT and just say, edit this so that there is one button. And when you click it, takes an input below and uses that to get all the data from the URL in the input. So I'm basically just explaining what I want to happen when there's a button and an input and you click on the button. I want a button here to do this thing and do this kind of function, and just keep doing that until you get what you want. If you just have like an issue with something, you just pop it right back into here and say, I have this issue, how can I go about fixing it? And then just see what it gives you and keep doing that over and over again until you get to something like I have here. So I have this one main component here that I import from here in the same folder, and this is basically just me doing that same process I just showed you over and over again, where I say, hey, I want, for instance, I have this input here, make a button here, so when this button is clicked, it takes this URL and then auto-populates all the stuff here. And if we go into basically the main structure of all this is we have from line 550 all the way to line 11, this custom component stuff. This is all of we're defining variables here, we're defining functions here, and then at this return, this is returning all of this stuff, is returning how all of this looks. So it's returning like you can kind of see, if we go here, you can even see like the H2 tags for the headers, right? The inputs, the buttons, the text areas. It kind of gives you like a layout of how things look. And honestly, like this code here, like I know what it does because I've looked at it a lot, but like when it first came out, I couldn't tell you what it did, right? But just, kind of explaining this is what I want and keep doing that until you get to something where I want the link to pull the text, and then when the button is called, it sends an API call to OpenAI, and then that takes that and it transforms the text. So it passes in the old article, transforms the text, and then it spits out the new article and then displays it in the blog box there. Or even like the crop feature, for instance. Like we have this, the cropped image and the Instagram image. Like I have functions in here. So like the crop image. So this function here, from here to here, you can kind of see where the line goes. This is one function for crop image. That's what I use to, get the image to be positioned correctly. And I basically just said, hey, I fetched this image from this website. Now, how can you crop it so that it fits this target width and target height? And then displays it in the application. So it's just kind of breaking what you want to happen down into smaller pieces, and then you can kind of combine and stick them all together to get what you want to happen. So what I'll explain too is I have this, so the handle fetch article and the handle rewrite article. So this handle fetch article is this main fetch article here. So this button, literally, I just ChatGPT the function, make it so that it runs an API call, fetch article, which I have in here. And this, when you type something like this, then it'll tell you what you need to install and what you need to do. But fetch the article and grab the main text and the article text. But then you could filter everything else out, grab the images. You literally can say like, hey, I don't want this part of the website to be detected when it gets ran, when this API call is ran. Can you filter that out? And then it will go through and filter that out so you can get a more streamlined response when you run the call. This looks like it sets all of the text in throughout the application, right? Like the thing is, like I said, I don't even know most of what's going on. I mean, I do for the most part, only because I've been looking at it for like 2 days, and you can kind of see like, you know, what functions are going on that make this thing turn. And then we can even go down here to the rewrite article, and you can see here it writes the API for the change. So the change article is this one here. It's basically the API call that you can make from OpenAI to get the new rewritten text. So if I were to go to their playground feature here and click on view code, they have a feature here that kind of explains how to make an API request to get data that you send from OpenAI back to your application. So that's what this does. It sends out this, you're an expert news copywriter, rewrite this and break it up in easy to read sections, main content headers, add p tags to regular text, rewrite this to sound more original and informative, and then I'm also passing through the article at the very end here. And then that spits out, if I'm going back to the text here, that spits out the response. Right, and then that gets put into the other component inside the application. And I didn't write that. I literally told ChatGPT to do that, and then it made it for me, and then I just pieced it together in this function so that when it is called, when I click on the button, it does what I tell it to do. And then you can kind of see here I have similar calls to rewrite headers. And there's 3 different ones. There's probably a better way you could do that, but I just found it easier to run them all separately, and it's pretty cheap to run like this kind of stuff. I know, let's see how much money I've spent. I know it's not a lot. 30 cents. And I've ran this a lot the last couple days, like 3 cents today, and I've probably made like 10 articles, right? So it's basically nothing. Yeah, so same thing for tags. That is the whole function. You can kind of see these are the API calls here for OpenAI. They're all pretty much the same thing. And then the one we talked about earlier to fetch the actual article, right? But yeah, so then the last thing I wanted to cover is so how I got the content from here to show up on my website here. So if we were to go here, all the content shows up and it comes into here, and you can click on the different titles here and it takes you to all the different tags that I have that were made in the article. So it kind of gives like a little bit of an interactive feel just by default. But this is all done through Sanity. So you can also do this with things like WordPress. Basically what happens here is when the user clicks on publish to Sanity, this function here inputs all of this data here, which is very similar to how it is taken in something like Sanity. So Sanity is the backend that I've been using to upload and host my content. This is basically a great way to store your content, and it makes it super easy to manage everything from one place in kind of a backend. It's called a headless CMS, and the term headless means it doesn't have a front end, it's only the back end stuff. So it's your job in your application to actually fetch the articles and stuff and display them in your application. So the backend that I have to localhost 3333, I have this Sanity backend, which I have running on this one, my bad. Yeah, so we have this one here, this other application, which is basically just a simple Sanity project, which I only really did through coming up to somewhere like here and then just say, you know, write me a tutorial for a new backend Sanity project. And then it goes through and says, it knows the application, it tells me what to install, it says initialize a project. You can literally just go through and follow this step by step and ask it as many questions as possible to build whatever you want. And I would really say like half the battle with this stuff is just knowing what technologies to use. Like if you know the main puzzle pieces of what things do and how to use them, you can really figure out like, okay, so I want to use Sanity for my back end. I want to use React for the front end stuff. In my case, I use Vercel to host everything. The hosting component means it's just going to be put out on a server so it can be visible to people through a URL. And that's pretty much all of it. And the backend here is really intuitive. You can see I have posts here with all the different posts that I just made. And you can even come into here and it's pretty much similar to WordPress if you ever use something like that, or like a Wix or Shopify has a feature like this where you can come in here and input stuff for, you know, categories and whatnot. And you can change these sections in your, so this is my Sanity project. This is not the other project. This is it specifically Sanity here. The schemas here are the different kinds of things post. So the post you can kind of see here has a title, a slug, an author, a main image, category, published at, the body text, the source, the name for the source, and the link for the source, right? And these are all, this is like the main structure of how it works. But what I could do here is, you know, take it and then come to ChatGPT and then be like, hey, add a tags section to my Sanity schema. Knowing what it is and then saying, okay, this is how my Sanity stuff is currently formatted, put it in, and let's see what it gives us. Okay, let's define a new tag. Right, so define tags. Gotcha. So it wants me to add this. And then I could even say, rewrite the entire code with all the changes. And we'll give it a second, but it will basically do exactly what I told it to do. But you get the idea. Like, it would just add this automatically. Like, I don't really know what it does, but if I were to copy and paste this functionality into here, and then you'd run a Sanity build function, which you can chat GPT into here, like, how do I update this to my project? Yeah, so it'd tell me to basically start it and deploy it if everything looks good. And there's also a Sanity build function, which you didn't mention, but if you just use this with enough time, you'll eventually pick up on some of these functions. That's really all you need to know to really get started using this stuff. And you can build some pretty incredible things. Yeah, that's how I ended up getting something like this, where, you know, you can put in a link and then it spits out a blog post and an image, and you can just post that to Instagram or your blog. And the thing about this is this is basically like the beginnings of a SaaS application, right? Especially nowadays with the big AI craze. But there's so many different ways you can take this and build it into a more formal product. It's really just about refining the user interface. It doesn't look as great here, but making it simple and easy to use, and in taking this framework of how to build things, as I've shown you with ChatGPT, and then really piecing it together by asking the chatbot, you know, I want this feature, and then sticking it all together to eventually get this application that you want. And it kind of goes to the thing, like, you know, in the future, people always think like, oh, you might not have to code, but like you're gonna use ChatGPT to get the code, and you're gonna be the person that kind of sees how it all interlocks. Is it code that's robust? Is it not going to fail or whatever? And that's for you to kind of test and play around with. But this method that I've come up with, where you just ask the chatbot what you want for the portion of the feature that you want to build, and just do that over and over and over again. I mean, you can even see it here. Like, I've done this on one giant 858 lines of code, and it took me 2 days to kind of put together and test, but now it works flawlessly. And like, I could really theoretically go ahead and just kind of piece stuff together and make it look nice, and then even ask ChatGPT, how would I go about hosting this as a SaaS program? You know, and you can integrate things like Stripe. Like, so for instance, I have one of my I'm trying to start a course, and if I were to have a course on something like this, if I want people to pay in order to view the course, setting up Stripe and things like that, I could ask ChatGPT, how would I set up a Stripe portal to funnel payments through my application to my bank account, things like that. And just kind of breaking things down step by step to get exactly the feature that you want is how you can get the most out of these kinds of tools. I tried to cover a lot. I know it's kind of a high level overview of how this application was built, but this is like really the fundamentals of how these things can be built in the future. This stuff really isn't going anywhere, and I think learning how to build tools for yourself with this kind of stuff, it really unlocks like a superpower. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys want to see a full course on how I did this literally from start to finish, and hopefully give you some inspiration on what kinds of things you can build with this AI stuff. I know this wasn't like a super high-paced video, but I want to do like a deep dive video into how to build this kinds of stuff. Knowing how to do it is going to be a huge skill in the future, because this is what programming will look like, in my opinion, in the next couple of years. I mean, sure that people will be be able to write their own stuff, but knowing how to vet and audit code that the bot produces will be a very lucrative skill. Hopefully this helped for someone, because this is a bit of a rambly video, but I just wanted to post it because it was something that I thought was cool and wanted to post. Comment, like, share the video, go through it, build something, and either tweet me or send me a message or something. I'd love to see it and check out what you guys make. This is really only a start. It's kind of a long video. I think we're on almost an hour now, but hopefully I'll chop it down to something that's not an hour. But if you made it this far, you're a real supporter. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.